Konnichiwa from Japan. In this video, I'm going to show you how in the past couple of years, I've generated close to $30 million from only about $4 million in advertising spend. I'm going to reveal to you the exact system that we've used to take our return on ad spend from 3 to 4x to almost 7 to 8x now. Let me start this with two fundamental truths that I've learned from advertising. The first is that over a long enough time horizon, all ads are profitable. Most of the time, the problem is that people have too short of a time horizon. So meaning they want to put $1,000 in ads this week and make $5,000 back this week. When in reality, as it becomes more and more competitive, the platforms get more and more expensive, you actually need to have a longer term horizon where you could put $1,000 in this week, maybe make back $1,000 this week, and over the next 6 to 12 months, make $5,000. The second truth that I find with advertising is that more exposure equals more trust, and more trust equals more sales. So if you can increase the amount of exposure that your prospects, that your leads, that your marketplace has of you over a long enough time horizon, they're going to build up enough trust with you. And once someone has trust with you, they're way more willing to pull out their credit card and buy your high ticket products and services. So now let's shift to the current problem with advertising today. Facebook recently came out with their quarterly report where they showed for the first time in 2023, they actually had less impressions for you to advertise on, and it was more expensive to advertise on those impressions. In short, you have less spots to be able to run ads in, and it's more expensive to run those ads if you choose to. And because of that, a lot of you are getting squeezed out of your marketplace, meaning your old advertising campaigns that used to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9x return on ad spend are now barely breaking even, or they're sitting at a 1 to 2x return on ad spend. And if you add in your sales team commission, your setting team commission, your client success team, your fulfillment, your operations, all the payroll and overhead, many of you, and actually I know a couple of people spending literally hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in ad spend, literally only to break even or to even lose money. They are just spending money to try to keep this facade alive, to keep this team alive, to keep all their employees working for them while they try to scramble to figure out what the solution is. And I'm really in a fortunate position where we're spending roughly $5,000 a day on one specific funnel type, and we have roughly a 7x ROAS on that one funnel. So let me show you how we've been able to do that. For the vast majority of you, this is what your advertising campaigns look like. So you have an ad at obviously the very top of funnel, whether it's on YouTube, it's on Meta, or any one of the other platforms. Then you have some kind of sales mechanism. So this could be video sales letters, this could be webinars, this could be challengers, this could be DM funnels, this could be literally one of 100 different things that you guys are doing to try to make these ads profitable. What it is not important for this video. I have different videos where I actually go a little bit more in depth as far as which funnels I recommend. Then after you have the sales mechanism, then you're going to have the sales call where you're pretty much going to get on the call with them and convince them to buy your stuff, at which point you make a sale, right? So we'll put a little dollar bill for you hardworking people out there. Now, a couple of years ago, you could literally just run this by itself and you could have, let's say roughly, 2% of people that see the ad eventually become a high ticket client. And this is where people were running, and myself included, even a 7x ROAS years ago. This is in 2019, 2020. And that was because ads were incredibly cheap. There wasn't a lot of competition in the marketplace. We weren't in a trust recession, blah, blah, blah. Now, over the past couple of years, all of those things have happened. We're at the lowest point of person-to-person trust in the last 40 years. Have more competition than you ever did before. And like I said earlier on, you have less spots to run ads on, and they're more expensive, according to Meta's quarterly reports. And so what people are now seeing is instead of a 7x ROAS, they are seeing roughly 1% of people that are ads turn into dollars, and you also have more of, let's say, a 2 to 3x ROAS, which isn't terrible, right? I talked earlier about people breaking even on their advertising campaigns, but you have to understand a 2 to 3x ROAS when you are spending like $500 a day, maybe $1,000 a day, it's not that great, because everybody who's been running ads for a while knows that as you scale that to $1,000 a day, to $2,000 a day, to where we're at, $5,000 a day, to eventually $10,000, $15,000 a day, which I've been before, all of those numbers are going to start going down. So your profitability is going to shrink, your return on ad spend is going to shrink, et cetera, which means that if you're starting at a 2 to 3x ROAS, you're going to end up at a 1x ROAS or even below it when you really try to scale this thing. So we really want to start at a high ROAS level so that over time, as we're spending more and more money and our funnel is becoming less and less efficient, it's okay, because we're still at a high return on ad spend and we're still highly profitable. So what have people done over the past couple of years? Well, they've done a few different things. The first thing that people have done is they've added in appointment setters to the process. So those are a really great way to increase the amount of leads that you get that turn into qualified book calls. You know, you could sometimes double the return on ad spend in an entire funnel just by adding appointment setters. Another great example is email campaigns. So email blasts that people throw inside of there. That's another really great way. You know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you're dropping case studies, testimonials, and you're making calls to action. And just like the sales mechanisms, there are a dozen of different ways that people have really fought to try to increase their return on ad spend, like live webinars and a bunch of different stuff like that. Now let's talk about what are the downsides of a lot of these things here. Well, they require a lot of work, in my opinion, and they're not very leveraged, right? So you could argue that maybe the email's a little bit leveraged, maybe the live webinar's a little bit leveraged, but it still requires a lot of your work every single day to manage the sales team or the setting team. I mean, it still requires your time to write up the emails and send the email blasts out. You still have to get the people as leads to be able to send the email blasts out in the first place. The live webinar is going to take up some of your time. So even though it's definitely true that you should be doing this, because you can't really just run ads and make money anymore, so you have to have one more layer, I want to talk to you now about what we've done to not only take what we have here, but to take the entire marketing campaign and convert it from, like, let's say a 3 to 4x ROAS to a 5 to 7x ROAS, even at scale. In short, I have a very strong belief that right now you have to be using a blend of both paid advertising and organic content strategies in order to really scale and make a difference in your marketplace. If you're just doing organic content, then you're going to have a really highly profitable company, but you're not going to have the scalability and speed from paid ads. And if you're just doing paid ads, then you're going to be able to scale, but you're not going to be very profitable. So you have to follow a blended approach. And this is where I coined the phrase about a year ago, the self-sustaining funnel. And it's when you use both paid advertising and organic, and they both feed into each other in order to help scale your company. So let me walk you through what this looks like in real life inside of our company. So the first is going to be in the top of funnel section here. So this is when people see your ads in the first place. Now, when I say top of funnel, most of the time I'm meaning that these people have not given you their contact information yet. So they haven't given you their name, their email, their phone number. You don't really know who they are, but you know that they're in your marketplace, right? Where does organic content play into here, and how can you actually tactically implement it? So the first is going to be very easy. Whenever you are creating organic content, you are going to get people who have never heard of you before and are seeing your content top of funnel without having to spend any money on paid ads. So these are people that, like, for example, on my YouTube, I have over 1,100 videos on my YouTube. We just hit 100,000 subscribers. It generates us literally millions of dollars every year. 1 out of every 2 high-ticket clients that we get comes from YouTube. These are all things that we help our clients with. And people find me from YouTube as their first source. Actually, whenever I talk to a lot of people, one of the first things I say is, like, where did you find me originally? And they'll say, oh, I watched that funny Zapier video of you, or I watched that LinkedIn Sales Navigator video of you, or I saw your funnel video, whatever else it is, right? So organic content is bringing people to my brand, to my business, and they're turning into leads, calls, and sales. But obviously, only a small percentage of them are actually converting into leads, calls, and sales. And so what we do is, when we're running paid advertising top of funnel, when people see our organic content, they hang out on our profile, they visit our YouTube channel, whatever else it is, well, then the platforms and the algorithms are smart enough to know that, okay, if this person is liking Ravi's content, watching his video, and subscribed, then there's a very good chance that they're going to end up being a converter. And we want to give Ravi as many converters as possible from his paid advertising, because Ravi will then spend more money on my paid advertising campaigns. So just by running ads without any targeting, I'm not talking about adding like 10, 15 layers deep, and I'm talking about cross-platform. So if someone's on your YouTube channel, there's a good chance that Facebook knows that as well. So just by running ads top of funnel, you're going to get more people from your organic organic content than you would otherwise. Now, a lot of people watching this are saying, Ravi, are you just talking about retargeting ads? Like, okay, people that land on your channel? Well, the more and more that I run paid ads, the less and less I really believe in retargeting ads. Mostly because it's a little bit more work than it's worth, because with retargeting ads, when you retarget people that have engaged with your content, visit your website, it's a very small subsegment of an audience, and thus your ads fatigue really quickly. So you have to be adding new ad creatives in that platform 5 to 10 times faster than you would from a top of funnel cold audience. So I don't really believe in retargeting ads anymore, because it's a lot of work for, yes, a high return on ad spend, but it's not very scalable. Also, like I said, these algorithms are getting smarter and smarter over the past couple of years. And so if I run top of funnel cold ads and I'm optimizing for schedules or purchases, well, just like I said one moment ago, the algorithms are going to know that if this person is hanging out on my channel already, then they are very likely to convert. And so we should run the ads to them so we can get these conversions that Ravi is optimizing for. And I see that all the time because of our tracking software. I know people that have been following us for a while, have engaged with our brand, and I've never booked a call, are booking calls from our top of funnel cold audience because I can see them in the tracking software and I don't have any kind of layers of targeting inside of it. So it's really powerful when you can run a totally wide open audience and the platforms are smart enough to know, okay, let's first start with the people that are already engaged with his profiles, his YouTube videos, subscribe to his channel, follow us on Instagram. And then once we've exhausted that audience, let's keep on going wider and wider and trying to find more and more people just like that. And so you get some really quick early wins, and the more that you're creating this organic content, the bigger and faster that audience replenishes. So that's the first very easy way in order to infuse organic with your paid advertising campaigns, very much top of funnel. Not a whole lot of strategy needed here. Literally just start creating content. And once you start creating content, then the people that see the content are eventually going to see your ads, and then they're going to become leads, calls, and sales for your company. Now, let's go back to the advertising side. The same thing is true in reverse. And once again, we have the tracking and the data to prove this, meaning that we have plenty of people that see our ads and click on the ad, but they don't opt into the opt-in page. Or they opt into the opt-in page, but they don't book a call to speak with us, that then they see some of our organic content. They visit our profile, they go to our YouTube channel, they watch a couple of videos, and then they become a lead, a call, and a sale for our business. And it's very, very easy to see this because of what the platforms have given us over the past couple of years. For example, Instagram recently started showing you when people start following you from the ads that you're running. So one of the most highly profitable structures or ways that we get a high return on ad spend is by literally outbound messaging the people that follow us from our paid ad campaigns. So already we're doing everything that we can from our paid ad campaigns to go to the funnel and to convert these people into leads, calls, and sales for our business. We're doing the strong advertising copy, strong video sales letter copy, good appointment setters, email blasts, blah, blah, blah. But one very simple thing, top of funnel, is if somebody sees my ad on Meta, let's say for example, and then they click on Ravi Abuvala Instagram profile, and then they look at a few pieces of content, they like it, and then they follow me, well then my appointment setting team is going to outbound that person, and they're going to say, hey, I saw you followed me, is there some type of piece of content, or are you looking for help scaling your business? And then the appointment setting team sets a good bit of people from our Instagram followers into leads, calls, and sales. And we know that they're coming from ads because Meta shows us that they're coming from ads. And the other really great thing about that is that in essence, that's lost money that I would not have gotten otherwise if I didn't have that process in place. So people that we're running ads to are visiting our organic platforms before they even become leads, calls, and sales, and our setting team is turning them into leads, calls, and sales for our business. So that's your first really kind of tactical way. The other way that you can do it really top of funnel is just by having something in your bio if you're running ads on Meta that says something like, message me the word YouTube if you want to learn how we can generate you 5 to 10 qualified sales calls a day from YouTube. So once again, people see the ad and they watch the ad and they don't actually click on it, but they check out the profile and then they message me the word YouTube and our setting team gets involved in there. So they don't even have to follow me at that point. They can just message me the word YouTube and our setting team then goes and sets them on the calendar. And this is really, really powerful because this is lost money that we wouldn't have otherwise. Also, it allows people that wouldn't have, let's say, watched a video sales letter or gone on a webinar or whatever your funnel is, it allows some of those people to interact in the way that they choose to, meaning that maybe it's it's more comfortable for them to DM you than it would be for them to watch a video sales letter or webinar. And so you're giving them that opportunity and have a setting team in place. And I know there's some people that are watching this right now that are like, oh, Ravi, aren't you just talking about like, why not just run follower ads? Why not just run direct messaging ads? Well, let me explain to you why we don't do that. And this is going to be a little bit advanced, so if you're new to advertising, this might be a little over your head. But when you're optimizing for conversions on Facebook, you're in essence telling the platform, hey, I want more people, or I want as many people that are likely to take this event as possible based on their previous action. So if you're getting people that are optimizing for followers, you're running a campaign for followers, then you're telling Facebook, I want people that have followed other profiles. If you're optimizing for messages, then you're telling Facebook, I want people that are optimizing for messages, okay? And the truth is that those people are the lowest quality people that you can get, because just becoming a follower or just messaging somebody doesn't mean that they're ever going to become a lead call or sale for a high ticket business. That's why if you can, you always want to optimize for purchases or schedules where those people have purchased stuff in the past, or they've scheduled booked appointments in the past. And when you're optimizing for that, you're getting a way higher quality audience, but you get the best of both worlds, because like I said before, those people can still see your content and interact with your profile and end up following you where your setters are going to outbound them, or end up sending you a specific keyword where your setters can end up setting them on the calendar. And that's going to have a way higher, lead to set rate or lead to client rate than you would if you're optimizing for followers or for messages. Okay, so there's a couple of dozen other strategies I could talk about top of funnel, but I hope you're starting to get the idea here. Let's now talk about middle of funnel. And that's going to be once somebody has given you their contact information, but maybe not booked a call or maybe not become a client yet. So they've given you their lead, or they've given you their name, their email, their phone number, but for whatever reason, you weren't able to convince them to get on a sales call to speak with you. How can you infuse organic content middle of funnel in order to make this happen? Well, there's a few different ways that we found that work really well. The first is going to be something that I like to call the new subscriber sequence. Now, this is something that I coined a couple of years ago because I noticed a huge rise in the popularity of newsletters. And so whenever I see something really big happening in the marketplace, I try to study it because I love marketing. And what I noticed was that when I opted into like the top 10 to 15 best newsletters, they all had 3 to 5 emails in the first 3 to 5 days of somebody subscribing to the newsletter that was outside of the regular newsletter sequence that essentially warmed them up and indoctrinated them to what the newsletter was about, what to expect from it, and even sent them some past issues so they could kind of catch up to where they are today, where the newsletter is today, or where they're going to be on the next issue. And I realized the power of that. And so I created my own version that we now call the new subscriber sequence. So when somebody is a new subscriber to my email list, we actually send them a 3 to 5 day, 3 to 5 email sequence. And we're talking to them, telling them about what my story is. We're explaining to them what our methodology is around scaling, the theory of constraints. We walk them through the self-sustaining funnel. But more important than all of that stuff is that we actually send them pieces of content for them to consume in order to get to better know our company. Because remember, one of the rules of advertising is the more exposure you can get with somebody, the more trust you're going to have with them, and the more trust you're going to have with them, the more money you're going to make, in short. And so we want to try to get as much exposure. So I'm not just going to rely on the paid advertising campaigns, the video sales letters, and the webinars to get that exposure. When I can also get that exposure from sending them to previous pieces of content that I've created. Now, I have literally dozens of videos on my YouTube channel about why I think YouTube is the best platform to send them to. I'm not going to go in depth on it here, but number one, it's the highest income earner platform than any other platform out there. People over $100,000 a year, 92% of them say that they use YouTube every single day. Compare that to Instagram, where less than 54% of people say that they use it, making over $100,000 a year. And if it's more exposure, meaning more content, leads to more trust and more sales, well, you might as well do it on a platform where you can upload 30-minute videos, an hour-long video, and that video stays technically 10 times longer than the other platforms. It lasts 10 times longer than Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or any one of those other platforms. So I'm very bullish on YouTube. So what we do in our news subscriber sequence is once someone becomes a lead, irregardless if they book a call or not to speak with our team, we're actually sending them and we're dripping out YouTube videos that they can consume or watch that answers some of their deepest questions, that solves some of their biggest pain points, that positions me as the authority in the marketplace, and more importantly, gets us that desperately needed exposure and that trust before we're trying to get them on a sales call and converting them as a client inside of our company. So if you don't have some version of new subscriber sequence, or maybe you do, but you don't have content infused inside of it, you need to make sure that you do that. Another example of a content-based tool that you're going to have at your disposal in order to increase your return on ad spend is going to be something that we call content-based follow-up. And what that means is that you are going to be using content in order to have your sales and your setting team follow up with prospects in order to set them on a sales call or in order to convert them. So if you've been in sales for a while or you've had an appointment setting team, you know that one of the biggest issues they have is that they're not really doing like leadership-based follow-up, meaning that they are mostly just doing reactive-based follow-up, and they're mostly just like, hey, you want to book a call? Hey, do you want to book a call? Hey, do you want to book a call? Hey, do you want to close? Do you want to call? Just following up, just following up, just following up. They're not really adding anything to the conversation. They're not really adding any value, and thus nobody wants to get on another call with them, right? If you got on a sales call with somebody and you went through the entire sales process, and then they said, let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. Well, then you just saying, hey, let's get on a call, let's get on a call, let's get on a call. They're not going to waste their time with that because they're going to feel like they've already gotten all the information that they need to make this decision. And in short, that decision is no. And so what you want to do is you want to essentially have an excuse in order to reach back out to that person. And so a really great excuse is value. And a really great way to do value is by sending them pieces of content that you've created. And this is really leveraged because I can create videos like this right here that talk about how to increase your return on ad spend. I can put it out on my YouTube channel. I'm going to get people from the YouTube channel to convert just on their own. They're going to go down below and book a call to speak with me or my team in order to learn about how we can help scale their business. And if that's you, I highly recommend you do that. We can actually walk you through exactly how we can install the exact same content and paid ad system that we've used in order to scale our business to almost $30 million a year. So make sure you go down below and do that if you want our help scaling your business. Then people that watch this content but don't go down below are eventually going to see some of my paid ads, and a certain percentage of those people are going to become leads, calls, and sales for the business. But on top of all of this, this same piece of content is then going to be used by my sales and my setting team as content-based follow-up. So they're actually, for example, my sales team, for the people that they've talked to that are currently struggling with a 1 to 2x return on ad spend, and they're barely breaking even, but they didn't move forward with us for whatever reason. Well, now my sales team can send this over to them in a quick personalized email, say, hey, Bob, it's James here. Ravi just put out this video about how we're maintaining a 7x ROAS even at scale. I thought of you because I know that you were struggling with a 1 to 2x ROAS the last time we talked. Let me know if you have any questions and if you want to hop back on a call, and I can maybe walk through some more of the strategy that he didn't cover on the call. So now it's a value-based follow-up. Now I'm sending a message to somebody without having to be like pestering them all the time, and I'm getting an excuse to hop back on a call with them. Because what's going to happen if we send this follow-up email to them and it's been 30 days, 45 days, they said, oh, let me go talk to some other vendors, let me just try this advertising agency I was going to hire, let me try this on their own. 9 times out of 10, they're in the exact same position they were 30 or 45 days ago, right? They thought that they just needed some time, when in reality, they need change inside their business, and that's what we're going to help them do. And so we can kind of identify and shine a flashlight on the fact that they said that they're going to do all these things and implement all this stuff, and this advertising agency was going to work, blah, 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 and they're still in the exact same position. So if they tried to say, oh, let me think about it again, well, now you can pretty much say, well, you said that last time, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful for you, but how much longer are you going to put up with this? How much longer are you just going to keep on telling yourself this lie that's eventually going to change on its own, when in essence it's not? And this all came from this one YouTube video that I filmed today. Okay, and the final content-based strategy I'm going to put you guys on today in order to increase your return on ad spend is what we call organic retargeting. And this is exactly what it sounds like. Using organic contents to retargeting, using organic content in order to get people more exposure so that leads to more trust, and that more trust leads to more sales. Now, there's 2 main ways that we use organic retargeting. The first is going to be through something we call the propaganda pipeline. What the propaganda pipeline is a way that you can force content consumption on your prospects. Because the problem with all the content that you're creating, if you're a content creator, or all the content you're going to create, because Ravi's telling you to so that you can get a higher return on your ad spend, the problem is that only a very small percentage of your audience is going to see that. And sure, you can have email blasts where you send it out to them. You can have content-based follow-up. You can do the new subscriber sequence, but still, only a certain percentage of people are going to open their email, click on it, watch that video, blah, blah, blah. Where when you have the propaganda pipeline, it's when you're actually running paid ads on both platforms. For me, it's both Meta and on YouTube and Google, where we are exposing people to the content that they need to consume in order to become a call and a high-ticket client for our business. So we run roughly $100 a day between both platforms, literally running pieces of content to people that are already middle of funnel, that have engaged with my website, that have engaged with my contents, that have maybe opted into something, maybe even booked a call to speak with us. And we're hitting them with literally 10, 10, 12, sometimes up to 20 pieces of content over a couple of day period in order to try to force them to consume the content that we know will get that exposure necessary to lead them into a sale for our high ticket business. Now, I'm not going to go too deep inside of the actual strategy behind it because it's a little advanced, but you don't have to make it that advanced. But in short, you want to identify what's the content that you're creating, not the ones that's getting the most views, but the ones that's leading to the most sales. Or you can reverse engineer if you're not creating content right now, and you can say, okay, people that are leads that don't become calls, or people that are calls that don't become sales, it's for these reasons here. They have this objection, this belief they need to break, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you can create content around that, and then you can run ads to that content for very, very cheap. You're talking about literally reaching thousands of people for just a couple of dollars. And remember, this is middle of funnel. So you're not reaching everybody in your marketplace. You're just reaching people that have already engaged with your stuff. And so that's why you can, if you're spending $5,000, $10,000 a day on your top of funnel budget, you could literally spend $10 to $30 a day on your middle of funnel or bottom of funnel budget on this propaganda pipeline and get all of that top of funnel people to consume the content necessary to turn them into a client. And the second style of organic retargeting is what we like to call on-platform retargeting. And on-platform retargeting means that, if you haven't noticed yet, on both Meta and on YouTube, when you go visit somebody's profile, when you, let's say on Instagram, you go to somebody's profile, you comment, you like, you even just watch 3, 4, 5 reels. The next time that person puts out a reel, you're going to see that person on your discovery page. Instagram's going to feed that person to you because they know that you like their content based on your previous history. And this is really powerful because if you can get people to your profile from paid ads, right? Like I said before, if they're messaging you or consuming your content because you put out this content there, or if you're even using the new subscriber sequence or setters to send reels to people, well, then when they watch that reel or another reel, and then you come out with a new one in the future, Instagram's doing free retargeting for you. You don't have to pay for this version because Instagram's saying, well, you told me that you like this person because you're consuming their content. So every time they come out with a new piece of content, I want to make sure that you see it first. So that's on-platform retargeting, an example for Instagram. Now for YouTube, it's the exact same thing. There's a reason why on our new subscriber sequence, we send everybody to all these YouTube videos, because not only are we trying to get them to watch that one YouTube video, but we know based on literally hundreds of tests that if they're watching that one YouTube video, on the right-hand side on YouTube, they're going to show 3, 4, 5 additional YouTube videos from me that they can click on. And then the next time they're on YouTube and I put out this video, such as this video right here, you may not even be subscribed to my YouTube channel, but you're going to see this video in your discovery page when you land on YouTube. And so because we can just get them to our profile one time, that signals to the algorithm that this person must be somewhat interested in Ravi's content. And so the next time I create content, it's going to organically on platform put this content in front of you without me having to pay a penny, right? So in this way, we're kind of hacking the algorithm where we're taking our top of funnel traffic, the people that are somewhat like cold, they don't really know who we are, and we're just trying to get them to consume a little bit of content, just 1 or 2 reels or 1 YouTube video. And then once we do that, we allow the platforms to do much more of the heavy lifting for them. They have, billions of dollars in research and scientists that are saying, okay, well, let's try to keep this person on the platform as long as possible. And because they like this person's content, then they're likely to stay on the platform if we serve more of this content. So now they're doing the heavy lifting for me, getting that exposure necessary to build that trust and ultimately turn them into sales. Now, look, there are literally dozens of other strategies that I could walk through on how we've infused organic content and paid advertising in order to get the best of both worlds, even at scale, and without me having to do an insane amount of work. But I just don't have enough time in this video to show you, and I need more context about you and your business so I can walk through which platforms or strategies may be best where you're at right now. So what I'd like to do is invite you to actually go down below, and you'll see a link where it invites you to actually work with me personally. So if you want to go there and watch a short video and then book a call to speak with either me or one of my team members, on that call, we can actually get a little bit better idea of what your current marketing system is, what your current marketing strategies are, and then we can walk you through some of these strategies even more in detail. And then at the end of that call, if you'd like, we'd show you what it would be like to work with us, or you can just take that same strategy and go out and do it yourself. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more of what that would be like, be sure to go down below and book a totally no obligation free consultation call where we can walk you through exactly that.